When I left school at 16, I just took any job that was going, and I worked in a supermarket. And then I waited for an apprenticeship, because the apprenticeship was a big thing in the 70s. I became an apprentice butcher, which the Foreign Legion thought I meant a fisherman, but it was a butcher. Just after my 21st birthday, I went to France and joined the Foreign Legion, 1979. Before 1979, I had no clue about France. I knew there was an embassy in Edinburgh because I wrote to it. And they told us to present yourself to the nearest police station, which happened to be in Calais. That was only one time at the time. So I went there, but and then I learned over my years in the Legion. I became friendly just before the Gulf War with a French family. You'll find that the French, they have a habit of being very pro-army or very anti-army. And they change all the time. You see demonstrations in Paris, they change all the time. They say, but being a Legionnaire is different. Ah, but you're a Legionnaire. That's completely different. That changed the whole thing. And we look at it as we're held in high esteem by the French. Well, I did try to join the British Army, and my local regiment, West Lothian, is the Royal Scots. Although my father and my uncle were Cameronians, which was light infantry. If I had joined the Royal Scots, I wouldn't have lasted 5 minutes. Why? Nuts. I was unhinged, as you say. Gung-ho a wee bit too much for him. I was 15 years in the French Foreign Legion. My first 6 year was spent in a cavalry unit, the 1st Regiment of Trangier de Cavalerie. Then I was posted overseas for 2 years, and that was the 13th Demi Brigade, the Legion of Trangier, Djibouti. Cutting it short, a Legionnaire says the Tres, because it was the best paid job and the best posting that you could get. And then I came back to France. After a few years, I came back to France, and I was an engineer. And that's where I'd done the Gulf War. And then my last posting was in the jungles of South America, the 3rd Regiment of Trangier de Infantry, where I'd done 2 years and came back home. And my last posting was like everybody else. You finish your time where you started your time in the 1st Regiment of Trangier, which is the headquarters of the French Foreign Legion. Well, the training is basically 3 things. First thing is to get you physically fit, because it's a hard job, soldiering. The second is you've got to understand and execute the orders without any questions. So therefore you have to learn French. You have to learn to understand it rather than speak it. So you understand it first and then you speak it after. There's no empathy at all in instruction. It's basically to learn the people how to live together as Legionnaires, and your training actually begins when you go to your regiment. I actually quite liked my basic training. I was unusual. I was quite liked it, and it was better than going down the mine, doing the pit, Polkemet. But I had this attitude, in for a penny, in for a pound. So if you're in, you've got to take it, everything, just give it to me. If I can take it, I can take it. If I don't take it, then I shouldn't be here. When you go to your regiment, you go with a blank sheet of paper, and only your Legion name, your number, your army number, and from there you learn.
So you were given a different name?
I was given a different name, yeah.
What was that name?
Lawson.
Where does that come from?
James Lawson, it's what happens is the ranker, the guy who's got the rank, mine's happened to be a couple chef, and they make up their real name, and they hand you a piece of paper with a name on it. Your first name and your second name changes, and from that day onwards, you're called by the name Lawson.
Must be strange.
Nobody will ever ask you in the Legion what your real name is. Nowadays, they don't change the name that much. I had a passport, a French real passport, in the name of Lawson.
So following on from that, can you discuss any sort of unique aspects of the culture and the camaraderie within the region?
As I said before, you start with a blank sheet of paper and it's constantly filled in. It's filled in to your level of your work that you're doing. Whether you're an engineer, whether you're on a boat, whether you're a sniper, whether you're a driver, you always learn your trade. And to learn your job, and that job is the most important thing. We have a saying in the French